me get to know ya. Hey, nah, 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 nah. Delve into emotion. Leave us in this moment. Yeah.
Hello, welcome to the Literary License Podcast. And today we are doing a getting to know you segment. And I get to, along with Leandro here, ask Keith a few questions about what he thinks. So, Keith, I know, but the audience might not know. Who are you? What do you do for a living? Or what do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, what I do for a living is I work as a forensic psychiatrist for a leading NHS hospital here, a teaching hospital here in London. And I also edit scripts for horror and film, and I also write dialogue for computer games. So,
yeah, I like the computer game part. That's very
and
cool.
I also do the podcast, and that's pretty much a full-time job now as well. So
It is.
Wow. Could you plug anything you want to plug, whether it's social media or website?
Well, I'm not really in social media on a personal level, but if anyone wants to follow us, they can follow me on our Instagram, which is LL Podcast on Instagram, or the Literary License Podcast on Facebook, or Twitter, or Tumblr. And I guess if you follow us on Tumblr, I write book reviews and stuff like that, and our book reviews and our
Goodreads
on Tumblr and stuff like that.
I don't think there's not a platform we're not on anymore, except maybe Rumble or something like that.
I think we are on Rumble, but I just don't think we post on Rumble. So.
Okay. We do a lot of examination of lots of things, books to screen and all kinds of genre. Which one has been the one you've enjoyed the most genre-wise?
My go-to seems to be the horror genre. I do like many different genres of film and stuff like that, but I tend to always go to horror genre. And I think the reason why I go to the horror genre is that it always surprises me. But I also find that with horror, that even if it's a really bad horror film, I can sit through, where it's really hard to sit through a really bad drama or a comedy.
It's true, because there's no coming back from a bad comedy or drama. There isn't.
Yeah, and so saying that, horror is always my go-to, and I'm always interested, and it always does test boundaries, and I quite like the idea that you never know what to expect, and it's always something that that. They always are pushing I said before, they're always pushing the boundaries, and even with the independent stuff and anything like that. And there's always something that does surprise me, and I always find gems within the horror genre.
Absolutely.
Cool. What's your favorite film?
Surprisingly enough, I have 4 to-go films, which are not horror at all. Is The Women by George Cukor, which is a 1943 film that has nothing but women in it, which is totally gay, which I guess
that is
in my pink card. And then my other favorite film is The Bad Seed, which we have covered in those shows.
I love that one too. I did.
And The Seven Faces of Dr. Lao, because that gives me special memories of my mother. When I was growing up, my mom would let me stay. It's the Seven Faces of Dr. There's 3 films: Seven Faces Dr. Lao, The Music Man, and West Side Story. And if those films are showing late at night, my mom would let me stay up late at night and watch that and not go to school the next day. So
and that was such a big deal back then, wasn't it?
Yeah. And The Seven Faces of Dr. Lao is that movie for me. It's like whenever I see it, it always fills me with joy and happiness, and it reminds me of that time. And my other favorite film is The Music Man, because I think it's the only time I've ever seen a Hollywood film that has a huge cast, and the huge cast are in every single scene. It's not like they just bring out, okay, we're going to do this number, and let's bring out these dancers for this number and that number. And I love Shirley Jones. I've always wanted her to be my mom. So
Shirley Jones. I could see Shirley Jones being your mom.
I want to be Keith Partridge. What can I say?
Keith Partridge? Well, now that we're going that way, what is your earliest film memory?
My earliest film memory is going to the movie theaters, and my parents, we went to the drive-in, and this is back when my parents were still together, so I must have been about 5 or 6. And we went to a double feature, and it was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Oh my God, yeah, I love those too.
So I remember seeing that. I remember watching Chitty Chitty Bang Bang the beginning, falling asleep and waking up at the child catcher, and then falling asleep after the child catcher. And then I remember waking up and having this great big octopus swallow a submarine. And that's that's my memory.
Do you remember which drive-in you were at?
It would have been in Fulton. I grew up. Yeah, my parent when I was growing up, we lived in Fulton in New York, which is where the Nestle factory is, where the whole town smelled of chocolate all the time, especially in the summertime, which is kind of disgusting, really. And then my other early favorite film that I can remember from beginning to end is my grandmother took me to see Bambi and Gus, the football kicking mule.
Oh my God, I forgot about Gus.
And Bambi, I think Bambi tortured me for life, because I think that was the most
traumatic scene.
Yeah, it's the most dramatic situation that any kid can find themselves at the age of 6, especially when you're going, Mama, Mama. It's like your
That's
mom.
sort of like Artax. Or was it Artax in the Never-Ending Story?
Yeah.
The horse drowning. That was always traumatizing, even as a teenager.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my earliest film memories, which again had nothing to do with horror, so go figure that one out.
Yeah.
What's your favorite book and author?
My favorite author of all time is John Irving. John Irving.
Oh, that's right. I forget that.
Fantastic for me. He is like my go-to author. My favorite book by him is A Prayer for Own Mimi, which I've read that book 8 or 9 times, and every time I read it, it's actually the only book that's ever made me cry. And
Serious?
Yeah. And an interesting story about John Irving is that when Heat Magazine first started here, I was doing interviews for them, and I was able to interview a bunch of different people, and I had to interview him. And he's the only person I ever got tongue-tied, and I was starstruck. I was stuttering, I couldn't get a thought together. Anyway, I had to leave the interview, and I said, I'm really, really sorry that I have to leave, but I'm a fan of yours. I'm turning into this blubbering idiot. But I'm going to contact them and ask them to send someone else over. Yeah. So I left. This is before mobile phones or anything like that. So I had to go to a payphone. So I went to a payphone in Piccadilly Circus, phoned the publisher, and the publisher goes, he just contacted us. He wants you to go back. So I went back and to redo the interview. And he presented me with 2 first-bound, leather-bound copies of and signed copies of Prayer for Own Mimi and Widow for a Year by him.
Wow, that's amazing.
He dropped me an email and goes, I'm in London. Would you like to meet for lunch? And I meet him for lunch now. But John Irving is my favorite go-to author.
That's cool.
He's my favorite book.
What episode are you looking forward to doing this season? We got a whole bunch of new stuff we're exploring.
I'm actually looking forward to Let the Right One In because the book, which is was written by a Swedish author. Of course, we're going to be reading the English version of the book, of course.
Right.
Many of us are very much versed in Swedish. That's as far as my speech goes. And Swedish Chef, I guess, and ABBA. But the movie is fantastic and the book is fantastic, but they're 2 different animals, and I can't wait to when people read it and just the hideousness of the pedophilia and everything that goes on in that book is crazy ridiculous. I'm looking forward to that discussion.
I've noticed that most of the stuff we've read, especially the book, the classics, I was just astounded at the stuff that was in those books that went totally over my head in grade school and high school. I mean, talk about reading stuff with older eyes.
I'm probably never going to leave my memory anytime soon. So.
What do you like about podcasting?
What I quite like about podcasting is that basically we get to meet a lot of people and discuss things, and it's become like a bit of a family. So Vicky and I do we do it week by week sort of thing, and then we have, of course, our regular co-hosts, and it's like catching up with old friends, and it's just discussing everything that we love and everything we knew, and discovering something new with each and every.
It's a lot of fun too. It makes you feel good for the rest of the day too. There's just something therapeutic about it.
Yeah, and I have to sit there and say it's probably the one thing in my life that's like, oh Jesus Christ, I got to do this. And I'm not when my daytime job, especially during COVID, was very, very stressful. I'm dealing with all that, and then the other stuff I have to do is fine. It's just stuff that I have to do because I have to pay bills and stuff. But the podcast thing is something I actually look forward to, and it's quite fun interviewing people. I mean, we got E.G. Daily, which I love her, and we got
she was really sweet.
And now, and I got an internet bride from it, Dinah Manoff, she's
also sweet.
She sends me like that little messages like, oh, how's my internet husband doing and stuff like that.
Oh, she did not. How sweet.
And it's just, we got to speak to Ellen Foley and, and the Dark Shadows crew. And, we got a lot more interviews and that's interesting. And and I think we become a family and it's been quite nice. And it's like when we keep adding to the family and the family keeps growing. Year.
It has been quite a journey.
And I really love that our guest co-hosts come back every single year. So I know that they're enjoying themselves. And I'm quite surprised at how fast we've grown and how we're growing. And that's nice that people are enjoying us. Sort of thing.
It's fun. Do you have like a favorite quote or saying you would like to impart?
I live my life through 3 quotes that my grandmother taught me. And those 3 quotes are, with the aid of demons, angels can be born. Basically, it means that no matter what bad things happen into your life, is that something good always comes out of that. Mm-hmm. And my other quote that my grandmother used to sit there and say, you can't enjoy the mountains unless you're living in the valley every once in a while. Which basically means that, you have to be in the valley to enjoy the highs. You have to have the lows and the highs in your life. Otherwise, your life is just plateaued. And, my grandmother also said that, you got that mountain, when you're in that valley and you got that mountain, that's something to climb up to. And don't worry that once you get to the top of that mountain, that God's probably going to knock you off the other side of that mountain. Yeah. And you have to climb up the mountain further then. And the main one basically is that she also taught me that you reflect on the past, you live in the present, and you look towards the future because you can't change the past. And even if you can, doesn't mean that your life is going to be better or worse. It's just going to be different. It means everyone that you know, everyone that you see, everything that you experience right at this particular time, it's going to be different. So
smart woman, your grandmother.
Yeah, so they're the sayings that my go-to sayings for life.
It worked.
And now, as you can see, that my hick accent's coming out when I talk about my grandmother.
I know. I was going to say the Northern New York is coming out.
Do you have a special message to our fans that has changed your life?
I think that basically what's changed my life is that anytime that something presents itself to me, I always give it a try. And I'm not 100% successful in everything that I do or everything that I try. I fail. And, the thing is, you can measure your success through your failures because you learn from your failures, which makes you a better person. And then when you do succeed at something, you have more of an appreciation for it. So,
right.
And, when we came with the podcast, we started, not sure how many people know this, but we had a literature agency that Vicky used to work with me as well, called the Media Bit Literature Agency. And then we changed that to MB Literature Agency because people found the word media bitch a bit, thankfully we changed it to the movement, which could have been even worse. But yeah, and then that became a bit of a stretch, and because publishing changed a lot. And
self-publishing, that's what it was.
Yeah, self-publishing, and then now that's bottomed out again. So, but it's kind of hard to actually make money out, but. I am proud that everyone that was with us, did get
a contract,
and we left them with a publishing contract. So I'm quite happy about that. But then I decided to do, the podcast thing. It's like, I'll do this once a month. And I got that from an idea from one of our authors named Jason White. And Jason basically had his own podcast thing, and I was helping him get people to go into a show and stuff like that and helping him out. And I thought, well, we'll give this a try and we'll do something a bit different. And that's why I say that's always tried something, this could have fallen flat. We've been quite lucky that's doing very, very well.
It is doing well. Is Jason still podcasting?
Yes, he is still. He still is, called Darkness Dwells.
That's right. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that.
And I highly urge people to listen to it. It's very good. He actually interviews horror authors and independent horror authors and stuff like that. So he does and I make sure that we don't step on any of his shoes at any time. So
awesome. Well, we can't.
I support everyone that podcasts, and that's why I always try to do stuff that other people don't do because it's, I don't want to cover the same stuff that everyone.
No, everybody wants something fresh. When your time has passed on this earth and it seems like things are like sped up all the time, what's the one thing you would like to impart on people or to be remembered for, or words of wisdom?
I think that when your time has passed, that you have to leave something of yourself behind. And I want people to remember me for being generous and kind and always is best. And, I may not always succeed and I might not always, be a great person sometimes because I can be opinionated and I do.
You think?
I do dance to my own beat, my own drumming beat sort of thing. But, I kind of want to remember being generous and always helping people and doing the best I could.
Okay. Well, we want to thank you, Keith, for sharing with us tonight. And I guess we will be seeing you in our next recording.
Yeah, I'll be there with bells on.
Yeah, so will Leandro. So I guess it's goodbye for now.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Let your mind be free. Stop holding back 'cause you can fight it. Oh, I don't know your name, but something in me has ignited. Oh, I was down when I saw you in the clouds, out of phase, filled with doubt. I was drifting in and out, levitate, fade away. I had left full time and space, but you just caught my eye. Hey, nah, please won't you come over? Let me get to know ya. Hey, nah, delve into emotion, leave us in this moment.